Jamaica had a hurricane insurance policy. Yes, they did. And so when Hurricane Melissa Category 5 devastated those parts of the island that I made mention and more, the policy kicked in. Jamaica was given, I think, correct me if I think I'm correct here, $150 million. That's a lot of money. Here's the currency conversion. $1 is equal to about 150, 160 Jamaican dollars. So do the currency conversions. 150 million US dollars. That's for the insurance policy. Then there were at least 10 to 15 more monies that came from the United States. Millions. Other monies came in. Private donations, celebrities, stars of sorts, the in-kind gifts, food aid, medical supply. So when you bundle all that cash and in-kind resources together, you look at that maybe, I'm guesstimating, close to maybe $500,000 US dollars. And so when the government says we're missing, go on YouTube, go on CVJ or other Jamaican news outlets and look at the tape. The government said that they're missing.
Greetings once again, my Jamaican people. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. And before I continue, I will kindly request that you hit the like, subscribe, and the share button if you get to like my content. Well, in today's episode, you are seeing that Jamaicans are coming out to call the corrupt Jamaican government that is under the leadership of Prime Minister Andrew Holness, and this comes after there have been revelation about the misappropriation of funds donated to Jamaica after the devastating effects of Hurricane Melissa that happened back in September last year in Jamaica. And you're seeing that Jamaicans are questioning how the donated funds to help Jamaicans recover from this calamity have been used by the government. Kindly watch the rest of this episode while I come with my commentaries at the end of it.
Mr. Brogard, sir, come here. I just have a simple, small little question for you, sir. You said that you spend 225 million JMD for food that you distributed to Jamaicans who have been affected by Hurricane Melissa. Okay, sir. I'm not going to dispute it because I don't know about your distributions, so I cannot dispute it, okay? But I would like to know more about those distributions. Mary Pandemian Crawford to come out and do the calculations, and come tell me what is happening. Because I am everything that the system does, the government does for people in Jamaica, it don't go under millions and billions. Few years back, I remember down in St. Elizabeth where the Troy Bridge would have collapsed. And initially, they would have said $171 million to do that bridge. It's a small bridge. People who have an idea of what I'm talking about can tell you. And it took 5, 6, or maybe 7 years for it to be fixed. And it moved from 170 or 171 million to $240 million, I believe. So nothing can be done without it being over those millions where you can't really account for it because we know how the system works. But I would want more in depth. I want to hear more about that $225 million that was spent on buying foods for people that have been affected by Melissa. Now, sir, I'm just a little worried because you spending $225 million on food for Jamaicans affected, but yet still, so many communities have been crying that nobody has reached to them, that they still have not gotten any food, any assistance. And a lot of the ones that do get help is from the major public. It's from the public. So, sir, don't hold me hostage. I'm not going to blame you. I'm not going to cuss. But I just like to find out where was those food distributed and when. I'm just asking for a friend. I really don't know. Okay, sir? So please, answer me.
So And Your Holiness finally, Holiness, whatever his name is, he finally admitted that the response that he gave with regards to Hurricane Melissa was rather slow. Now, his justification is what baffled me and many other Jamaican citizens. He said the reason as to why his response was really slow is because the person responsible for the disaster relief team or the disaster relief section fell ill. So as a result, which is why they never acted as fast as they should helping people. Then he stipulated that Westmoreland had a valid case that government did not respond the way they should have. So all this time, all those people pretended as if Parliament and everyone else pretended as if the government was actually doing something when he wasn't. Guys, watch this video and let me know your thoughts on his justification.
There was a scramble. We don't deny that, because we have never had this before. Institutions, funny enough, Mr. Speaker, the members from Westmoreland made a very strong case that the disaster response was slow and ineffective. And I reflected on it. I did, because every criticism, I take it and I look at it, because if I am wrong, I'm the first to admit. In the same way that when I looked at the response, I said in the first 3 days, we were all just trying to...
This is the town of Black River in the parish of St. Elizabeth, Jamaica. This parish was the first parish to be hit by Hurricane Melissa, which was about 10 weeks ago. This town is also the capital of the parish of St. Elizabeth. And one thing I couldn't help but say to myself as I drove throughout this town was, where is the financial aid that's been sent to Jamaica to help rebuild small towns like this? Because this town sure as heck hasn't seen one penny of that money. So where's the money going? Where is it? And that's what I kept saying to myself as I drove throughout this town. The whole town was abandoned. There was nobody in sight, no one cleaning. I would have thought the government would hire some cleanup crews who could hire people to help them clean up, but nope. Nobody was doing anything. Nobody was working. Nobody. So I really hope the financial aid that's been sent to Jamaica, that some of it makes its way to this town, and this town can have the help that it needs to rebuild. For real, this is crazy. One last thing I want to say is the people that live nearby, they were just grateful to have life. Even though they had no light and no water, they were grateful for the gift of life. We could all learn from Jamaicans. They're so resilient. They truly are. But yeah, where is the money to help this town? Come on now. Somebody's got to tell.
While the government failed, the real first responders were the dancehall artists, the Shaggy, Sean Paul, Buju Banton, Vibes Cartel, Spice, Massacre, and many others, right? These entertainers were the ones distributing food, supplies, and checking in on communities while the government aid crawl like snail slow. How you think the aid got there? You think they just swam into Jamaica?
Nobody can cross it. Nobody can cross it. It's only who understand it. Like a fisherman and a fisherwoman.
No, Andrew Owen, let's defend his administration, insisting that the government cleared roads and delivered aid, and argued that people were only seeing police officers because they were the ones transporting the help. But in reality and in actuality, the people on the ground, right, the people who are suffering, were affected by Hurricane Melissa, did not see their representatives. They saw more of the dancehall artists that I speak about delivering care packages than anything else. So I see people saying, I don't see nobody from the government. The only person I see is from the Lacovia police station. How you think the aid got there? You think they just swam into Jamaica? The government opened the airport. The government cleaned the road. The government escorted them. Don't talk nonsense. To ensure that all the people who you see out there who want to give aid to Jamaica, that they are able to do it. You think they come here without ensuring that there are security guarantees? Who you think gives them the security guarantees? You think the stock that they have just move automatically, just materialize where they are? How many convoys you see moving with the security forces carrying them through? Don't talk nonsense about there was no government presence. I want to give commendation to the police. The JCF needs special recognition in this disaster because with roofs blown off, no electricity, they stood up. When I went to Black River, the police station was destroyed, nothing, they didn't have any electricity. One of my first order of business was to secure generators. I gave 4 generators to police stations. I don't go out and make this public because that's not my role or my job, but I did it just to make sure that there was a center of response. Yes. When we went into communities, we realized that all businesses were destroyed. And right now,
Up first this evening, almost $60 million worth of goods for Hurricane Melissa victims were not recorded in the inventory records of the Office of Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Management, the ODPEM.
That's one of the key findings of the Auditor General's Compliance Audit Report on a real-time assessment of the Hurricane Melissa Relief Initiative.
In addition, over 100 Starlink devices remain unused and in storage.
Andrea Chisholm has been reading the report, which was tabled in Parliament today.
Firstly, food items, tarpaulin and water bought for $59.6 million were not recorded in ODPEM's inventory records, and ODPEM did not have a system to record or track goods, a system which is essential to accountability and reliable financial reporting. In response, ODPEM stated that its warehouse inventory operates as a paper-first system. Items received and issued are initially documented on vouchers before being entered into the computerized inventory system. However, the Auditor General was previously told that a software was used for inventory management, and there was no evidence that records were updated. ODPEM said its inventory system would have been updated by January 9, 2026, but the Auditor General says the process remains incomplete and it was not given a timeline for full implementation. In the meantime, the report noted the purchase of 200 Starlink devices valued at over $12 million. The purchase was initiated by the Telecommunications Minister and not ODPEM's Director General. The Auditor General says only the head of the entity is legally empowered to initiate procurement, and there is no provision under the Public Procurement Act that allows the minister to initiate commitments to suppliers. 120 of the devices were distributed, but 41 issued Starlink devices remain unused and in storage. It turns out the power supply had 2-pin electrical plugs and were not configured for the Jamaican market. Power adapters were therefore needed. As of January 6, 80 of the 200 Starlink devices remained in storage at the Jamaica Constabulary Force. The Auditor General is therefore recommending that ODPEM verifies if the devices are appropriate and if they align with operational needs. A structured deployment and activation.
So guys, apparently $6 billion is to go towards the relief of Hurricane Melissa in Jamaica. But only 12 million will be spent on that situation. Now, what happened to the rest of the money? Where is the rest of the money going? If only 12 million is going to be spent out of the 6 billion, then where is the government? Then what will the government do with the rest of the money? 6 billion, only 12 million spending. And let me know what exactly they have started in Jamaica with regards to that relief money. I don't hear of anything. I don't see anything. Maybe it's me. But let me know your views on the matter, because this situation is not very good. Take a look at this video. You will see the evidence for yourself, and let me know your comment. Where do you think the rest of the money, the rest of the 6 billion is going, if it's not going to be in the recovery process of the Jamaican people?
Reality is that only 12 million US out of 6 point, how much? 7 billion dollars is grant funding. Only 12 million US out of over 6 billion of programmed US funding is grant funding. That is the world that we as Jamaicans, both you on that side and us on this side, have to navigate. The institution which has been announced to oversee the recovery process, which does not yet exist. It is just an announcement thus far. This National, I think, Resilience and Recovery, or Recovery and Resilience Authority, NARA, is going to, we are told, be responsible for the relief resources being spent in a judicious way, in a way that's efficient, in a way.
So the people of Jamaica were curious when Mark Golding hastily called a press briefing to tell us that he will be encouraging people to not support a national effort to restoration and recovery from Melissa. It was surprising when he said that the PMP would be setting up their own system to collect donations, because apparently comrades have a preference to give the money to comrades. We are already seeing in the public square where comrades who have sent donations in kinds and cash are complaining that they are not even being recognized. Now news is emerging that the donations sent to the PMP to give to the suffering people, especially in Westmoreland where the PMP run go as if nowhere else not damaged by Melissa. The donations are missing, guys. I knew this would have happened, you know. I told you so. I can say that 1,000,000 times. I told you that this would happen. The money donated to the PMP by their supporters are gone missing. The millions and millions and millions. Who is auditing the PMP? Who is monitoring these donations coming in? But Kuya, remember say the PMP have a record of stealing from themselves? In the 90s, they stole from themselves. Trafigura sent money, Colin Campbell stole half of it. 2007, them steal campaign donation. 2011, them thief campaign donation. 2016, them thief them own campaign donation. And words were emerging that out of the money that Venezuela give them for an election, some of it went missing. And God Almighty, man, they claim that their people are suffering, and trick uno comrade for donate the money to them. Where are their checks and balances? Where is the auditing? Where is their special committee to monitor the money coming in? All they wanted was money. And no idiot jackass comrades no care the money go give them. Now uno donation gone missing. Who to be blamed? Me did know say the people now see even quarter of what them a collect. Comrades no fooling. But that uno love. Uno love the poverty kind of system. Uno go and carry no money go give the white man we say him rich long time. And he will do the right thing to uno. by siphoning it off, sink it off somewhere. But in essence, I really rob him a rob no. PMP donation gone missing.
Well, if you've watched to this end, thank you once again, and let's get down to it. As you've watched in this episode today, you're seeing that many Jamaicans are coming out to call out Andrew Holness government, especially when it comes to how the funds donated to Jamaica, that is after the devastating effects of Hurricane Melissa, which unfortunately hit the island in September last year, that is 2025. And we're getting to see that properties amounting to millions and millions of shillings were lost in Jamaica, and there was also an unfortunate loss of lives. But even after experiencing this, we are getting to see that the world came together and supported Jamaica in this time of need. And in doing so, we're getting to see that various international bodies actually came into play, with Jamaican artists playing a huge part in rallying these donation and funds that were aimed at supporting the Jamaican people, that is, during the recovery process after the island survived the calamity of Hurricane Melissa. And in doing so, we're getting to understand that the Jamaican government actually received approximately 150 million US dollars, that is from the World Bank Disaster Manage Fund, and this is quite a huge amount of money. And again, you get to understand that the CCRIF, that is the Caribbean Catastrophe Insurance Facility, also managed to send 70.8 million United States dollar in support of Jamaica, that is during the devastating time of Hurricane Melissa. And lastly, we get again to understand that the Jamaican government also managed to receive an approximately 6.7 billion United States dollar, that is cumulatively coming from the IMF, World Bank, and the IDB. And this is quite a huge amount of money compared to the size of Jamaica and the devastating effect that the hurricane caused on the island. And for most Jamaicans, this actually marked a huge step in recovering, as they had total faith in the Jamaican government, led by Prime Minister Andrew Holness, in delivering the aids to the Jamaican people. And this information that I've given here and the figures are not cooked up figures. This is information that is available on public websites when you search for it. And this again goes to show how deep the corruption menace is in Jamaica. And even after that, we're getting to see that after the Jamaican Prime Minister, that is Andrew Holness, managed to receive these funds, Jamaicans are still waiting for aid and for the recovery aid to receive in their different parishes. And for most of them, they're questioning Andrew Holness' government, especially when it comes to the misappropriation of the funds that were donated to Jamaica. As you've seen in the previous video, you've seen Andrew Holness claiming that the government has not yet touched the donated funds that are amounting to billions. And even despite of this, you're noticing that Jamaicans are still struggling. There are some parishes, especially in the remote parishes, that have not received a single help from the Jamaican government, and they are still having problems with water, with clean water, power, and the repairing of the other important infrastructure in their parishes. And this comes even after the Jamaican government is claiming that there has been no misappropriation of funds that have been recorded, and that all Jamaicans should be patient, as the funds will get to everyone. And this has raised skepticism among most Jamaicans, as you've seen in this episode. And there have been also recorded cases of the misappropriation of funds by the Jamaican government that are still in process. A good example is the report given by the Auditor General, where the commission is getting to see some mismatches, that is, mismatches when it comes to the auditing of the funds and the deliveries given to people, especially when it comes to the Starlink kits that were donated to the Jamaican people. As you've noted, most Jamaicans claim that they never received these aid, despite of the fact that the Jamaican government claimed that they had already disbursed these kits to help Jamaicans who are in remote areas. And again, you're getting to see a report by the Integrity Commission, in which we all know that Jamaicans have very little faith in it, especially when it comes to the recent event where we noticed that there was a case where Andrew Holness was supposed to openly declare his statutory wealth, and there were questions about how he got to accumulate the massive amount of wealth that he owns right now. And the Integrity Commission came into play, in which the commission was tasked with the duty of trying to either debunk these claims or make it a fact about how Andrew Holness, together with this company, managed to acquire the amount of wealth that it did. But unfortunately, we're getting to learn that the Integrity Commission finally managed to make a decision that favored Andrew Holness, claiming that there was no sufficient evidence to hold Andrew Holness again accountable against all the claims that were being made about him. And again, in this Hurricane Melissa disaster situation, we're getting to see that the commission again is being involved. This time, the commission is calling out the Jamaicans to report any instances where they believe that there is corruption or there is misappropriation of funds, or there are individuals who are receiving these donated things without following the proper government structures, as they seek Jamaicans to help them nab this massive misappropriation of funds and corruption that is currently happening on the donations that have been received in the country. And even despite of this, you're getting to learn that in this disaster, there is always an opportunity for the corrupt leaders to try and enrich themselves. And that is what is currently happening in Jamaica. And this is not only happening in Jamaica, this also happens in most countries, especially here in Africa, where we're getting to see that when a disaster hits, these politicians come out and feigning the act of trying to help individuals, liaising with the international bodies to offer donations. And once these donations land into their pockets, this money never reaches to the individuals who are actually in need of it, but instead it ends up being taken by these corrupt politicians who benefit themselves and their families. And in Jamaica, we're getting to see a similar scenario playing out, and we're noticing that it's only a few individuals who are benefiting from this. And also, we've seen the opposition leader in Jamaica, Mark Golding, also coming out to call out the Jamaican PM Andrew Holness, who actually managed to get his third term in office, and they're claiming that the government is not liaising with the opposition. That is when it comes to helping the Jamaican parishes in need in the recovery process. And this again goes to show how there has been a rift, and there is a growing rift between the faith that is between the Jamaican people and their current government, as more and more Jamaicans are actually questioning how the Hurricane Melissa funds are being spent in the country. And lastly, as I had mentioned before, big up to all the Jamaican artists, as they came up out in huge numbers to try and help the Jamaican people. A good example is Vibes Cartel, who donated millions to the Jamaicans affected in different parishes like St. Elizabeth Parish. And in doing so, he also encouraged other artists to come out in supporting one of their own in a moment of dire need. So for all Jamaican artists, big up again, as this goes to show how Jamaica is a land full of unity, and it's only the politicians who are trying to bring down the hopes and dreams of the Jamaican people. Well, this marks the end of this episode. Thank you for watching to this end once again, and kindly again don't forget to hit the like, subscribe and the share button, and see you in the next episode.